What's up, broskies? Damocles here, and today I'm bringing you the absolute best movesets for every Pokemon in Pokemon Unite. This was a viewer-requested video, so you guys know I'm more than happy to oblige. As always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell down below because it really helps me out. We're trying to get to 30K, and we're getting there, but I can only do that with help from you guys. So, without further ado, let's just hop into it, shall we? Also, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok if you want quick guides. So, first moveset is Venusaur. Venusaur, my suggested moveset is going to be Giga Drain and Petal Dance. I think that this moveset is still really powerful in the game. It makes it so Venusaur can just stick around in team fights and just never die because you basically get reduced cooldown on the Giga Drain whenever Petal Dance hits, and Petal Dance increases your movement speed. So you just have this ability to be a juggernaut, run after people. They can't 1v1 you because you can heal up and get damage reduction from Giga Drain. It's just a really strong moveset, and if you don't like the close-up playstyle, you could go the sniper build, which is Solar Beam and Sludge Bomb, but in general, my recommendation would be to go with Giga Drain Petal Dance. It's just gonna be an all-around, like, just fantastic option for you, especially if you're playing solo queue and you're trying to carry some games. Charizard. Charizard's best moveset, in my opinion, is going to be Fire Punch, which goes and basically CCs the target a little bit and burns them, does a decent amount of damage, but it knocks them back, which is really important. And then Fire Blast. Fire Blast is an AoE that slows people to insane levels. It is such an insane slow. And while I used to like Flare Blitz, now I'm more in the Fire Blast camp because they've just buffed Fire Blast so many times that it's a mistake not to take it. It's fantastic for zone control. It's fantastic for slowing enemy teams, keeping them off your goals. It's just so busted right now. The slow that it puts out is insane. And so you can combo, you can drop a Fire Blast, Fire Punch somebody into it. It's just really nice. And I think it goes with Charizard's anti-carry playstyle. So that is going to be my option for the best moveset for Charizard. For Blastoise. Blastoise is a little bit more simplified in my opinion. A lot of people like to, they used to go like Hydro Pump and Rapid Spin, or excuse me, Water Spout and Rapid Spin, because you could have some cheesy interaction with how Rapid Spin worked, where it would basically massively increase your damage output and you'd be unstoppable while you're doing it. It was just nuts. But they nerfed that interaction, and so now my recommended choice, and my choice from the beginning, was Surf Hydro Pump. It's just such a powerful combo because you're getting massive amounts of damage, you're getting CC, you're getting stuns, which is a form of CC, obviously. It's just really fantastic when you're playing Blastoise as a defender because you're outputting large amounts of damage, but you're also able to peel for your team and engage for your team with Hydro Pump and Surf. So that would be my go-to choice. Also, I am on Pokemon Unite GG. If you've never been there, you can go check it out. They have a bunch of movesets and various builds that people have submitted and stuff like that. It's a fun site to look at. So if you're looking for a site, go check it out. Pikachu. Pikachu, the go-to is going to be the classic Electro Ball, which is a guaranteed hit, and it also deals higher damage the lower the opponent's HP is, so it's like execute damage. You can't miss it. It's super easy to use, pretty low cooldown. It's just obnoxious. It's Pikachu's bread and butter right now, and Thunder, unfortunately, just doesn't hold a candle to it right now. And then the second option is going to be Thunderbolt. Volt Tackle, you do not want to be in close range as a Pikachu, basically ever. Even when you're Unite moving, you're vulnerable. So you want to go Thunderbolt because Pikachu is used as a lane bully, but as the game goes on, you become more of a stun bot with lower cooldowns. You just spam out Thunderbolt stuns and Electro Balls, Thunderbolt stuns and Electro Balls, and that's going to be your go-to moveset. Volt Tackle, unfortunately, even though it got buffed, it's still just, you don't want to be in close range of Pikachu. That's it. Ninetales also recently got buffed. The original build, a lot of people went Aurora Veil because you could abuse the basic attacks, but right now, after the nerfs and then subsequent buffs of Ninetales, in my opinion, the best build to go for is Avalanche and Blizzard. It's more of a combo mage bursty playstyle where you go and you drop the Avalanche wall behind the target, and then you Blizzard them into that wall. It freezes them, hits them with a bunch of extra damage. It's a little bit harder to play, but it's a lot of fun, deals a solid amount of damage. So that would be my suggestion. Whereas if you go the Dazzling Gleam Aurora Veil playstyle, you're very much more relegated to like the support type role. Wigglytuff. By the way, guys, I'm sorry if I sound weird today. I got my booster shot yesterday for COVID, and I got my flu shot yesterday. So today I'm feeling a little cruddy, and so if it comes out in this video, that is why. Okay. So your move choice for Wigglytuff is going to be Sing. I know a lot of people have this fascination with Rollout because you can do some cheesy stuff, but the reality is a lot of people are on the lookout for that as soon as they see a Rollout Wigglytuff, and the damage output is not significant enough to warrant taking it, whereas Sing has an immediate impact no matter where you use it. It's just a phenomenal ability. It's so good. It CCs people, it's disengage, it's engage, it's what makes Wigglytuff the choice pick right now. It is annoying to deal with in lane because she just sings you and she slaps you. As for the level 6 ability, I would highly suggest going Dazzling Gleam. It just does solid damage. Double Slap was recently nerfed, and I just think that Dazzling Gleam is the better option. It's a slow, it does solid damage, and literally you just run up to people, sing them, Dazzling Gleam them, and that's Wigglytuff's game in a nutshell. So my suggested build would be Dazzling Gleam and Sing. Machamp. So Machamp is in a bit of a rough spot right now because the recommended build that I'm going to still recommend to you is Cross Chop and Submission. These are just Machamp's bread and butter abilities. They got nerfed earlier on in Pokemon Unite, and he really hasn't gotten any kind of quality of life buffs or anything like that since then, but it's still going to be the go-to choice in my opinion. I do have a One Punch Man Machamp build on my channel if you want to go check it out, where I go Close Combat and Dynamic Punch. But in general, I just think that Cross Chop and Submission are going to be your best choices. Cross Chop gives you a little bit more, it gives you an additional dash. It also does solid damage, even though its crit was reduced. And then Submission is just pound for pound one of the best abilities in the entire game. You just run up to people, they can't stop you, and you just toss them into the dirt. So it's a fantastic moveset overall. And if you're going to play Machamp, then that would be what I would suggest. Slowbro, another character that really has fallen out of the spotlight quite a bit. Definitely in need of some quality of life buffs. But Surf and Telekinesis is going to be your go-to for Slowbro. This character's role in any given mode is that you want to be able to hard CC, one target or multiple targets for a long duration. And that's what Slowbro's fantastic at. You go and you focus on a single carry on the enemy team, and you keep them out of the fight. And so you can Surf on them, which knocks them up, and then you can hit them with a Telekinesis, which holds them in the air for your teammates to beat on, and then you just go and you can pull them back with Telekinesis, or you can follow up with a Slow Beam, his Unite move, that keeps him in place for even longer. It's just a really obnoxious build to go with, and that's what I would suggest if you're playing Slowbro. You could do the Mime build that I have on my channel, which is Scald and Amnesia. It's more of a damage-oriented Slowbro build. It's definitely a meme build, but just tossing that out there as well. Gengar. I think when I made my first video on this, Gengar Sludge Bomb Hex was probably still good, or maybe I just thought it was... Maybe I saw the future and I knew Shadow Ball Dream Eater was going to be better, but right now Shadow Ball Dream Eater is going to be your go-to combo and your go-to moveset for Gengar. It just makes it so you can one-shot basically anybody on the map with your combo. You turn into a combo mage. If you're not aware, Shadow Ball drops special defense. It does a solid amount of damage. It lets Gengar come online a lot faster than if you went the Sludge Hex build, excuse me, and it just makes it so you can have more of an early game impact, whereas with Sludge Hex you have to wait until you get Hex at a much later level, whereas Shadow Ball deals a lot of damage early on. You basically Shadow Ball someone, you activate Dream Eater on them, which sleeps them, then you can pop Dream Eater again to teleport to them, deal more damage, heal up, and then that also resets the cooldown on your Shadow Ball, so you get a huge burst window where you Shadow Ball, Dream Eater, Shadow Ball, or any of the other combos. It's just a solid build for Gengar right now. It's single target focused, but that is the Gengar build right now. Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is going to come as no surprise to anybody. Confusion on 100% of the time on Mr. Mime. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just by far the best ability for Mr. Mime. It's what makes Mr. Mime currently in the meta, because you're practically able to like one-shot squishies at level 4 if you land Confusion on them. It's just really insane ability. It deals a ton of damage. It's part of Mr. Mime's playmaking potential, and Psychic is just unfortunately not up there. And then the other option is going to be Barrier. Barrier plus Confusion, it gives you so much playmaking potential. It allows you to zone enemies off of Zapdos, off of other objectives like Dreadnought. It keeps people off their goals. It keeps people on your goals if you're trying to bait them on. It's just Barrier, Confusion is the go-to for Mr. Mime. Snorlax, unless you are going a cheesy full damage build with Flail and Yawn, every Snorlax should be running Heavy Slam, which is just a you know, basically a leap and a knockup and block, because block is basically the best ability in the entire game. It's just so insane. You can zone control people, you can keep people shoved into a corner so that your teammates can follow up, and that combined with the initiation of Heavy Slam just makes it so, the engage of Heavy Slam makes it so you just run people over if you are choosing to play Snorlax as a defender, which is what most people are picking. So block and Heavy Slam, for sure the go-to. If you're going to cheesy damage build, then you would go Yawn and Flail so that you have that massive damage. For Blissey, in 99% of circumstances, I'm going to recommend that you go Soft Boiled and Helping Hand, simply because Helping Hand is just far and away better than Egg Bomb. You are a support at the end of the day, and Egg Bomb does not do enough damage to warrant taking it as Blissey. You're just not, that's not what you're there for. So Helping Hand is going to give all your entire team an attack speed steroid. It's going to massively increase their damage output. It's fantastic. It's really what you bring Blissey to the party for. And then Soft Boiled is Blissey's heal. It's a really nice chunky heal. It allows it to compete with stuff like Eldegoss in terms of healing. It's just a really solid pickup if you are supporting a lane, which is what Blissey is there for. And you know, as for the 1% scenario, if they go and they buff Hex Sludge Gengar, then maybe you go Safeguard, or if you're playing in the Halloween game mode, then you go Safeguard so that you can cleanse people. But in general, right now, unless you're going up against a heavily stacked status effect team, which you don't really know, like in the pregame, or honestly during the course of the game, what build they're going to be going, I wouldn't recommend, you know, sacrificing your level 4 for Safeguard unless you're sure that they have some really obnoxious status effects in CC that needs to be cleansed. Whoops, already did Machamp. Gardevoir, the go-to, in my opinion, is going to be Psyshock, first and foremost. Psyshock is just, how can I put this? Even though Future Sight, I think, has the higher ceiling in terms of its damage output and how good it is, the reality of the situation is that unless you're going to wait until level 12 to be useful, which is kind of what Gardevoir is just relegated to because of who it is, Psyshock just allows you to come online a little bit earlier and at least exist on the map before level 12. And so my general recommendation is going to be Psyshock, even though in theory Future Sight would be the better ability. It's just not, because you literally don't exist on the map until you hit level 12 with Future Sight. So Psyshock, and then of course Moonblast. Psychic is just not good. It's just not good. Gardevoir really needs the stun and the little dash backwards from Moonblast in order to kite and to survive, because if anybody gets in close range of Gardevoir, they just fall over. Gardevoir just falls over, and Psychic is just not worth it. So Moonblast and Psyshock is going to be your go-tos. It's just going to make it so Gardevoir comes online a little bit earlier and has an impact in the game rather than it just being a 4v5. As for Garchomp, your go-to is going to be Dragon Rush and Dragon Claw. I think, you know, I've said this for a long time, this is the best possible moveset for Garchomp. You want to output as much damage as humanly possible while sprinkling in a little bit of utility, and a double dragon moveset is the go-to for that. Dragon Claw has some really nice displacement and interruption capabilities, which is kind of crazy, and it increases your attack speed, which is of course what you want on Garchomp. And then in addition to that, you have Dragon Rush, where you're really able to go and do some cheat. Number one, you have a fairly low cooldown gap closer, which Garchomp desperately needs, but also you're able to do some really cheesy stuff where you can go and pull people off of objectives or off of goalposts, or multiple people off of goalposts and into your team with the hitbox that Dragon Rush has. Friendly reminder, if you don't know, Dragon Rush and Dragon Claw, you can combine them while they're being cast, and they both will activate at the same time while you drop to the ground. So something to keep in mind. I just don't think Earthquake and Dig, I think it kind of amplifies what Garchomp is bad at. It really needs that that gap closer. For Lucario, your go-to is going to be Extreme Speed right now. That's just the meta. The fact of the matter is that Lucario basically warped the meta in that it's singularly brought onto a team because it's so good that it can like 1v2, 1v3 in some situations. It's just phenomenally powerful, and Extreme Speed allows you to go and abuse that to the fullest. It allows for a lot easier time farming, like things like the Vespiquen and stuff like that, as well as doing nice 1v2 like outplays and stuff, because you can reset your dash multiple times. The damage really surprises people. Power Up Punch, still a super solid ability, really solid for securing objectives, does a lot of damage. It's just right now the annoyance of having extreme speed and Lucario with a ton of dashes in combination with Bone Rush, which is another dash, really annoying to deal with, and that's what makes Lucario just insane right now. And speaking of its level 7 ability, Bone Rush is your go-to 100% of the time. Close combat just doesn't cut it in comparison to Bone Rush. You want to have that extra mobility, and so that's what you're going to be running on Lucario. Mamoswine, this is a bit iffy because all of the abilities are kind of useful and they all kind of end up with similar interactions. My opinion though, I really like Ice Fang in comparison to Icicle Crash. They're both really solid. They both, do a lot of stuff for your team and CC the enemy team. But Ice Fang, I really just like the pick potential of being able to go and single out an enemy carry or something, pick them up. You can eject button backwards and throw them more closely into your team. And then in combination with that, you could either go high horsepower or Earthquake, in my opinion. What I do see is most people will go high horsepower just so that you can, if you run up to the enemy goalpost, you can Ice Fang them behind you and then high horsepower them into your team. And so in general, that's probably what I would recommend. But Earthquake is still a solid combo with Ice Fang just because it has less of a wind up than high horsepower, in my opinion. Absol. Absol is one of my favorite characters in Pokemon Unite, and my opinion on this moveset has not changed. I still really like Pursuit and Psycho Cut. They have buffed Night Slash and Sucker Punch a lot, so a lot of people might be scratching their head at this, and you're totally welcome to go with whatever camp you feel like. But for me, I pick Absol when I want to absolutely dominate early game and just blow people up, hit some really massive, like, two-shot nukes, like legit two-shot nukes, and Pursuit and Psycho Cut is what allows you to do that. You can just go and literally just chase people down. The cooldown of Pursuit gets refreshed if you hit someone in the back, and then also if you hit someone in the back, it's going to deal massive amounts of damage, and then Psycho Cut increases your damage to that target and slows. It's just a really fun playstyle for snowballing early game, and that's what I pick Absol for, so that's why I play it. Sucker Punch and Night Slash might not have that same upfront like burst damage, but they're still solid sustained damage choices overall. I'm just not really too big on them. I don't really care for them that much. Crustle, your go-to is going to be Shell Smash 100% of the time. Rock Tomb is not a good ability, unfortunately. I really think that Rock Tomb, if it got some buffs or some changes, it would be fantastic, but it's just not a good ability right now, especially in comparison to Shell Smash. Really, Shell Smash is what enables Crustle to do what Crustle does right now, and if you go Rock Tomb, there's no reason to play Crustle, if I'm being totally honest. Shell Smash increases your movement speed and your damage, decreases your defense, so you have to be careful of that, but it allows you to rotate around the map faster than any other defender, and that's really how you play Crustle. You rotate. And then in combination with that, I like to go Stealth Rocks personally instead of X Scissor. If you go the Crustle build I have on my channel, you go Scope Lens because Stealth Rock is actually able to crit, and the damage output of Stealth Rocks increases over time. So it actually has really fantastic objective clearing and wild Pokemon stealing capabilities, and also fantastic zone control because people don't expect the damage output from the crits from Stealth Rock. So I like to go and run around with the Shell Smash Stealth Rocks playstyle where you're constantly running around trying to steal stuff from the enemy team, trying to score, and that's how I like to play it. If you want to go more of like a playmaker, much riskier build, you can go X Scissor, but I just think I don't know, I don't vibe with it that much. I think that there's a lot of people that go and they make plays on Zapdos, and push people into points with Crustle and with X Scissor, and it does solid damage. It's just, that's not what I think Crustle is there for. I think Crustle is there to be more of an annoyance and rotate around the map. Greninja. While I love my Surf and I love my Smokescreen, the reality of the situation is right now, Double Team Water Shuriken is going to be your go-to choice. The reason being is that Double Team basically got like kind of stealth buffed in that the doubles that you actually make actually do stuff now. They actually do a solid amount of damage, and they actually copy what your ability is that you're using. And while it can copy Surf, the interaction with Water Shuriken, the damage output is just so much more insane. So basically what you're losing in Smokescreen and Surf, you're making up for the fact that like if someone jumps on you, or if you are trying to 1v1 someone, you pop double team, you pop Water Shuriken, and you and your doubles just melt people. That's the current go-to for most Greninja players right now. But I mean, Surf and Smokescreen, you can't really go wrong. It's just that Water Shuriken double team is a little bit better right now. So that would be my suggestion. Also, I'm pretty certain that double team gives you invincibility frames if you pop it just as you're about to get hit by a targeted ability. So that's something to keep in mind potentially as well. Talonflame. This dude, you could honestly build anything on this guy and he's going to stomp, because Flame Charge and Fly are both really good abilities, and Aerial Ace and Brave Bird are also a really solid combo. But in general, my recommendation would be to go the scoring build that I have on my channel and go Fly and Flame Charge, because it allows you to still have insane damage output like Brave Bird and Aerial Ace, except you have the ability to dip in and out of team fights a lot easier and rotate around the map a lot easier as well. And then when you combine that with Talonflame's low cooldown Unite move and Score Shield and Buddy Bearer, it makes it so you are just a machine at scoring, and you deal a ton of damage with Fly and Flame Charge. And Fly, make no mistake, still deals a bajillion damage. So my recommendation would be Fly and Flame Charge. Sylveon, my opinion on Sylveon has not changed since the release. Hyper Voice and Calm Mind is going to be your go-to. I just don't think Mystical Fire and Draining Kiss are any good at all. That's just my opinion. I think that while Mystical Fire is cute for dashing around and annoying people, the lack of targeting really makes it just a no-go for me, whereas Hyper Voice is going to allow you to just melt through people. You can still move while you're using it. It really gives Sylveon that sustained damage output that makes it a top special attack pick, and Calm Mind just boosts that to 1,000. It makes it so you have increased special attack, special defense, and movement speed, and then once you upgrade it, you get basically like a pocket feint, essentially, where you can just negate an ability cast on you. So pop Calm Mind, pop Hyper Voice, and just melt the enemy team. That's going to be my go-to for Sylveon. Whoops, already did Crustle. For Decidueye, in my opinion, Razor Leaf plus Shadow Sneak is going to be your go-to, like 90% of the time. If you want to go a sniper build, you can go Spirit Shackle, Shadow Sneak, but in no circumstances is Leaf Storm good. It's just not. Decidueye's defensive capabilities are a whopping 0%, and you need to output as much damage as possible, and Shadow Sneak is what allows you to do that. And Shadow Sneak can also be used to find people hiding in bushes, because it doesn't care about vision at all. It just finds the closest Pokemon target, and it will reveal them to you while reducing their defenses. And then Razor Leaf is going to make it so you can be that hyper carry late game, where even though if someone looks at you, you fall over and get KO'd, if you are left alone, you're able to just melt through the entire enemy team with your basic attacks. So Razor Leaf and Shadow Sneak are going to be your go-tos. If you want to go the sniper playstyle, feel free to go Spirit Shackle instead of Razor Leaf, but I just think in general Razor Leaf is the better choice. Zeraora, my boy. My suggestion would be to go Volt Switch and Discharge. Discharge is just, I know there's a lot of people that really like Wild Charge, but the thing is, Discharge is just, it's just so much better. Unfortunately, it's just miles ahead. The amount of stuff that you can do with Discharge, the AoE potential that it gives Zeraora, where you can kind of coincide the casting of Discharge with Zeraora's passive, where it does more damage when it starts to take damage. It just makes it so Discharge allows you to have such a more impactful presence on the battlefield. And so Discharge plus Volt Switch is going to be your go-to. I also do want to point out there is a tech that I have on my channel where you can go and use Discharge to pull people into your team. It has a small pull associated with it when you pull someone that's paralyzed. And if you Volt Switch, Discharge, and auto attack someone so they're paralyzed, and then you Volt Switch back, you can actually pull them the entire distance of Volt Switch. It's a really hard thing to pull off, and the timing is tricky, but if you love Zeraora, I would highly suggest you go and check out that video and practice it, because it's fun. Also, Spark is solid in comparison to Volt Switch as well. Spark is really cheeky. You can go and run, if you are going to go run Spark, I would suggest going Razor Claw, just because of the damage output with the combination of the two. It's just, in my opinion, Volt Switch is just so useful for jukes, for pulling people, that I really prefer Volt Switch over Spark, and 100% Discharge over Wild Charge. Cinderace is another character where you can't really go wrong building it, but in my opinion, right now, Pyro Ball plus Flame Charge is going to be your go-to, simply because of the mobility that it provides for you, and the pseudo AoE potential that it provides you. So unlike Blaze Kick and Feint, where you are very much more single target focused, you just Blaze Kick one person. Pyro Ball, you can hit multiple people, and it does a ton of damage. It does a boatload of damage, and it reduces the cooldown of Flame Charge and Feint. So what you can do is constantly reposition throughout the fight. You can go Flame Charge to chase after someone, hit him with a Pyro Ball, Flame Charge again to get out, or just mix it up. Feint is still a super solid ability, honestly. I mean, all of these abilities are still super solid. It's just right now the synergy of Flame Charge and Pyro Ball is my go-to recommended choice for Cinderace, and it just allows you to have that crazy kite potential and chase potential. Greedent, my go-to with Greedent is still going to be Covet and Belch. I just think that it's just the most obnoxious moveset to deal with, and that's what Greedent is. He's obnoxious. Covet makes it so people just can't chase after you. They can't get you. You just run around in circles, and everybody knows the deal. Everyone's had to deal with a Covet Greedent before, and while Belch and the interaction with the Unite move got nerfed, I still think Belch is just the bread and butter option for Greedent. I think it's a lot easier to use. I think that the AoE effect of it is really nice. The damage output is still solid, and the interaction with the Unite move is still pretty solid. So I would go Belch and Covet, although Bullet Seed, I have seen some gameplay footage. Bullet Seed is annoying to deal with. Eldegoss. So Eldegoss, your go-to basically in every game is going to be Cotton Guard. Just the shield, the HP, the movement speed that it provides, everything about it is solid, and that's what you're going to go 99% of the time. I really don't see people going Cotton Spore that much. And as for the level 4 abilities, most circumstances I would recommend going Pollen Puff. So in general, I would recommend going Pollen Puff, Cotton Guard. That's what makes Eldegoss that annoying, really sustained healer in lane that you just hate to play against. Leaf Tornado, maybe if you're playing in a solid team with communication, you're in a 5-stack and you want to have more rotational capabilities, then you go Leaf Tornado. But it's like if you're in solo queue or you're not in a full 5-stack that's communicating, I think you're just going to get a lot more mileage out of Pollen Puff, because it's just very simple. It's okay, you just go and you heal people. Last but certainly not least is Cramorant. Cram moveset has not really changed since release. You're going to be going Hurricane and Surf. Cram is brought to the party for one particular reason, and that is to steal enemy XP camps and secure your own wild XP camps. And the way you do that is with Surf and Hurricane. And that has not changed. They nerfed the abilities a tad bit because it was such a dominant lane bully, but Air Slash and Dive are just too clunky. They're too clunky, and they don't play to Cram's strengths, which is unfortunate. So even after the buffs that Dive and stuff has gotten, Surf and Hurricane are going to be your go-to choices for Cram, because that is why you're brought to the party. You're brought to the party for that burst, for that quick CC, and the wild Pokemon stealing capabilities. So that is it. That is everyone. Hopefully this video didn't go on too long. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support. Remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell so we can get to 30K subs. And if you have any video suggestions or you disagree with anything here, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm more than happy to discuss. Again, this is just my opinion, and at the end of the day, play what you enjoy the most, because Pokemon Unite is not that serious, guys. Okay? And again, we're on Pokemon Unite GG. If you want to go and check out some, build guides or anything like that, feel free to go and check them out. But that's going to be it for me. Make sure you follow on all socials, Twitter, TikTok, the whole deal, Twitch, and you guys have a great weekend. Peace out.